Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you some stuff that I've been working on recently. Some stuff is still on, still doing, so there's nothing really released yet, but eventually and hopefully it will come to Unity Asset Store. If not, then I will release it on GitHub. One of the tools I'm gonna be releasing is a developer console, also known as, for me, Debugger. Debugger is a, as I said, developer console, but it allows you to both in the editor and the runtime doing some commands. Right now I only implemented the editor side, but hopefully I can also do this with the runtime. A little bit tweaking needs to do that before I can continue. I'm using Unity UI elements, I think it's called that, which is implemented by the Unity, sort of integrated, I should say, to UI toolkit, which is sort of the newest thing to do to make UI. And the reason why is it using a let's see here, resource and UI uses some style sheets, so we can actually go to project settings. I have some scriptable object as represented settings, and can switch from profiles. We have the default, we have the cyber, we have the moon, and we have the sunset, and we have the Xbox. I can implement, of course, more profile if I want, and you can also do custom, so I can drag in moon and it still works. We can do let's say sunset. I like that one. Then we also got the font. Currently there's a bug that some specific font only works, I don't know why. Then we got font size and font style. So if I write, for example, log, I can increase the font. Obviously this clears everything, but as you can see, I can put a 16, so you can see clearly now. Let's say 26, which is, I don't know. You can clearly see here, but I don't know. It's quite cool. Let's put it at 16. But yeah, we got a password if you want to use a password. We can do ABC123, and if I try to type a command, I can no longer type in command. And if I try to type something, let's say log hello, nothing will happen. It should give you an error, so that need to be fixed, but I need to type in the expected password in order to use developer console, ABC123, and now it shouldn't activate. I don't know why. One thing is in a hotkey, and I add a hotkey if you want to toggle quickly. Let's see. Okay, nothing happens, so the password is broken. Good to know. Yeah, you can use that if you want to. You can use timestamp, which currently doesn't work really, but it should in the future. We have a case sensitive. I think it should work. So if I do sample them, it still works. It doesn't work, sorry. So there's a lot of stuff here that should be implemented, but yeah, the things are implemented is the styling config, and the password was implemented. It is just now broken. I don't know why. So but yeah, the point is you can use a lot of commands in here, and you can log, for example, let's say false, and you can log. I also developed a plugin that is using a Unity parser, which is a DLL file that will allow you to convert particularly like string things. So if I type in true, it will convert to a boolean, which is quite handy. It doesn't have support yet for Unity specifics data type like vector3, vector2 and something like that, but I will implement it because that is something you need in a developer console. You want to, for example, set a player position, so you want to use the vector3, so it's going to be implemented, but I haven't done it yet. The things I have done is, for example, let's say application. You can do a lot of stuff. Now getting the actual information doesn't do anything because it just return. I haven't implemented to log or like debug.log, the actual like the return value. So you get value, but you don't do anything with the return value. So that's a little pointless. But one thing we can do is actually set some data. So application set, and here we can set target frame rate. So let's actually try that one. So we can play this. So we do application set target frame rate, and let's set to 20. So now you can see we're running at 20 FPS. We can also mute if you want to. So if I type mute, I am now muted. I also can reload the scene. We can also unmute. I set the time scale. Set time scale to, for example, let's say 0.2, and I can do application set. Let's do set target frame rate to -1. There we go. Now you can see I'm moving slow motion. I also can break if you want to. I can also do editor beep to get that sound. And also the coolest part, I have now a history of stuff. You can look at some stuff you want to do. So let's say we want to resume. You can type resume and all that kind of stuff. One thing also, which is, I don't know how handy that is, we can also focus on stuff. So we can do game view, scene view, build settings. So if you do build settings, you can get that. Or editor, focus, scene view. We can do that if we want to. We can also do a full screen. So that's quite handy. So there's a lot of stuff, but also a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily like integrated with Unity, but it's still quite handy. So for example, we can run some command prompt. So if I do run CMD, or system doesn't run CMD, this will open up a command prompt, and I can type direct or dir, which will give a directory stuff. And we can do exit if we want to exit that as well. That's quite cool stuff. We also can build. Is export. I can change it to build later if you want to. But here's called export, and now I can export. Obviously I don't want to export. We also get a question mark if you want to export, and this will export your game. You have to choose a location if you want to export your game, so it doesn't do that automatically. Yeah, we can also quit the application, or sorry, the editor. It calls exit. So here we can exit the editor if you want to. Obviously I don't want to, so I cancel that. So there's a lot of stuff to do, and it's quite cool. We can also, which I implemented today, do editor debug mode, and this will switch over to debug mode. Obviously this is gonna take some time for the script to recompile and all that kind of stuff, but it's quite handy to switch over. So there's a lot of commands that can help you if you want to, and also implemented get HTTP get stuff. Currently it's only get that works. So if you want to put, post, or patch or delete, post works I think, but put and patch and delete doesn't really work, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna fix that later on. But yeah, it's like a lot of stuff. If you want to clear the history, it's called clear cache, so we can do that. And now I try, doesn't work. So it's a lot of stuff. Also, I forgot to mention, we have some system commands, so like start process, open path, open link. So we can do start process. I don't know if this will open on my second monitor, but we can put in chrome.exe. And there we go, we open Chrome in exe. It's quite handy to use this developer console. We can also save scene and open scene, and the one I like, instead of an open scene which is only for the editor, we can do go to and scene. Here we can put the scene index, scene build index, or the name. So we can put at 1 and we'll get that, or we can put at like 0 and we get that. I think 3 is the main scene. There we go. Or we can put at like intro menu, I believe it's called. Yeah, there we go. It's quite handy to use this developer console, and like I said, you use Control M to like toggle between them. So even if you are working on something else, if you press Control M, you will get developer console. It's quite handy, and you also can change like the design, the layout, and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite nice to have that, and it's also using the new Unity like type cache, which is a little bit bummed because it only works on the editor side. Basically, they have cache on the attributes. So if you want to use like attribute, which is this is based on, so we can open the sample, so I can show you. So basically how this works is using a attribute, which is debug method attribute. So if we go to debug method attribute, we can see here you contain alias, and a description, and alias or aliases. I don't know how you pronounce that. Basically that is the command's name, or yeah, basically command. And we have description for basically telling you. You can also use debug description if you want to have a separated description attribute. And you might be wondering why. This is because you can use multiple debug method for alter the name. So for example, set sample.set value, but we can also do set value if you want to shorten some stuff. So if you want to have a specific under a certain like a certain, I don't know, keyword or something like that, you can use this. So for example, physics, and we can do physics.sample set value. If we type in physics, then we'll go inside the physics alias and all that kind of stuff. But it's quite cool to use that. We also have the field, which isn't been I don't know, it hasn't been helpful right now, but I will implement it in the future. So we can, oh, we already have a field. There we go. So this is a field, and we can specify if we want to read only or have this have access to set value. So for example, if we want to set value, we do sample, which we get here on display name, sample.health, and we can set the value to, for example, 10, like so. In the future, I want to add like addition, let's zoom in, there we go, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But for now, you can only do get and set stuff. So we can set or we can get our health. And currently the field doesn't really work because it's a little bit complicated since it's not a method. One thing that isn't implemented yet is the debug group, which essentially will be a attribute to sort of group a better way. Instead of doing a sample.sample and so on, you can use like over here, we can do sample. And this will remove, it will not remove, but essentially you don't have to do sample dot da da da. And also you can remove this text because this constructor is using the column member name, so we essentially use this name in order to construct the attribute. Okay, let's say we want to create a custom side sheet, so we can copy a wallpaper. So let's say copy path, and we can open our custom side sheet, and we can replace this by this new one. I'm just gonna paste this over here. We can actually paste it like this. So I want this bit, and we don't want the extension, like so. We can remove this, and now we'll load the image itself. You can also play around with the scale and the stuff. So now you can see it here. You can also see the color. So let's change this to white. So if we use white, we can see some color here. We can really change how everything looks and feels if you want to, which is quite nice. I like I said, I like this sunset profile. You can also clear some stuff. So if you log some stuff, hello world, you can also see we got some warnings over here. We can actually do clear like so, or clear if you want to be more specific. This is clear console. This will clear all your stuff in the console. So yeah, we got a lot of things to do. We can also do show file path or show in Explorer. If we do Explorer, and this will take our currently highlighted or selected object, like in the object, so like an asset, something like that. We can also do a folder to show in Explorer, and this will take this, which is quite handy. But if we don't have anything selected and we do this command, it will take the scene, currently open scene, and we'll get our sort of scene path or scene folder over here. You can also do show file path, and this is taken from the asset. So if you do do, for example, let's say this, so we copy path and just paste it over here. It will open that specific sort of file inside and show you sort of in the Explorer, which is quite handy sometimes. You can also do open file path, and if you do same thing over here, this will now open the image in your imager editor, so like here Windows. So you can also do with some other stuff. So if you do stream an asset and we have this, I can copy path and do exactly the same. I can go now over here and change the I get that's a little bit offset because yeah, we changed the font, and for some reason UI element doesn't like that. So we do like this, then yeah, we do this. I can change. Okay, it still doesn't like it. Okay, maybe this is another bug. But we do show in open file path and paste in the file. And this will now open. I have brackets installed, so this will open another application in order to view the JSON. Now this is an old JSON, but essentially how I'm thinking planning in order to make this developer console available in the runtime. I'm thinking instead of doing you know, looking through assemblies and looking through all the sort of method info and field info and all that kind of stuff, what I'm trying to do is create this at a JSON file that I can only read, and we can see what is which method info is subscribed to, or not subscribed but like linked to. So if we try to invoke that method or that field, for example the set value or get value, it will essentially invoke specific method in your sort of assembly. So yeah, this is basically a debugger, how everything works. Obviously there's some stuff that needs to be improved on and all that kind of stuff, but as you can see, it's working pretty fine. One thing I noticed, if you try to do editor.play, we get some errors, and because I think it doesn't have anything to do debugging, but mostly we're using the new interplay mode settings, which will cause some issue if we do it like that. If we do editor.play, it should work now just fine, I think. There we go. And we can do like pause and stop if we want to, which is quite cool. Yeah, everything works fine. Like I said, stuff needs to be improved, and run stuff and need to be implemented. The field stuff need also to be implemented, and autocomplete would be nice. I have some autocomplete, just more tab complete, and enum parameter. Currently everything it will be switched. If you try to use enum, everything will be switched to int, because most integer enum is backhand as an int. You don't see that because I can show you. So if you try to define an enum, let's say value time, backhand, if we express this, we can actually express to int. Maybe we can also do like byte and long if you want to. Obviously you can't do a reference time, so like an object or something like that. But basically if you don't express anything, the enum will eventually convert itself to integer. So currently the parser, the Unity parser system, just convert the enum to an integer, and if you try to use a enum parameter, it will just do you can just do an integer in your input, and it will self convert to an enum. It really doesn't really matter in this point, but it would be nice to use it like enum's name instead of like an integer. But yeah, like I said, I think this is a pretty cool tool. I'm also glad it's finally working, because I've been working this well, I have been like thinking on doing this tool for quite a while now, but it's only like now that I finally got something that is like pretty good. The last thing I can show you is a HTTP command. So if you do http.get and we paste in, for example, a URL. So this is a Star Wars API. I will basically give you some information about Star Wars. I don't know why this is useful, but if you paste that in, we can see a result coming back from that API call. We can see people, and we can actually copy this, go to this and go to JSON viewer, and just paste it in, and let's say format. We can see some stuff. Obviously this shouldn't be there, and we can go to the view and we can see some stuff. Obviously this is how it looks. We can go back to to home page, and this is basically how it should looks. So I think if you do people one over here, you get that. So I think if you do like so, then people one, yeah, so we should get that. We try to do this now. So http.get. There we go. We get now Luke Skywalker, and we get some mass, which is quite cool. I don't know how useful that would be, but you know, it's quite cool. And like I said, if you want to clear your console, clear like so, then we can quit the the editor, so exit. There we go. So that's basically how you use Debugger. Is it gonna be an awesome tool, and hopefully I will be releasing that on Unity Asset Store. I don't know when or how, but yeah, it's gonna be excited to release that.